Hello all, this is Neil McGurk, Relief Operation Director for DRO 848-16, and this is an orientation to all workers who are going to be joining us on this statewide relief operation in Texas. So we're going to be discussing our commitments to you on this operation, the DRO structure, the impacts of the overall event, and some important things to remember about working on a relief operation in Texas. So myself and the leadership team are making a sincere commitment to you to ensure that you have a positive experience on this operation. And the first one is that you're treated with respect, courtesy, and appreciation, that you know at all times who you report to and your daily work assignment, and that if at any time we fail to meet the first two commitments, that we'll work diligently to rectify the issue. And to help us rectify the issue is Fred Sanford. Now, many of you have worked with Fred Sanford before, and I know he always doesn't have this pleasant demeanor, but he really is a very genuinely nice guy. And he is on this operation as our Chief Morale Officer. And the intent for this position is really to enable any worker on the operation that's struggling on the operation, that's having challenges, they can't seem to quite work it through the existing structure. You can always talk to Fred Sanford, and Fred Sanford is an advocate. He's an advocate for all workers on this operation to help ensure that you are being enabled to provide the best possible services to clients, to be successful within your position, and again, to have a positive experience. So I always want to encourage you to follow your appropriate chain of command to try to resolve issues first. But if for some reason you're finding that's not working, or any other types of issues that you're just not very satisfied on the operation, reach out to Fred Sanford. And again, Fred Sanford will be that advocate for you to really help resolve those issues so you leave the operation having that positive experience. So our DRO leadership team, we have our Red Cross Coordinating Officer, Charles Blake, and the Chief Morale Officer, Fred Sanford. I am the DRO Director. Our External Relations AD is Jessica Dabalski. Our AD of Operations is JC Mercia. Our AD of Logistics is Cindy Shank. Finance is Diane Fisher. And Planning is Patrick Rivers. You'll get more information, including contact information, in the Incident Action Plan, which we're going to talk about that we have an intention to ensure that it is emailed to everybody every night on the relief operation. We also have a district structure enacted on this relief operation. So the relief operation headquarters is located within Houston, Texas, but we also have other areas of damage throughout the state. And we'll talk about that when we come up a little bit more on the impact of the event. But we have a district in the Central and South Texas and a district in the North Texas region. The DRO is directly managing the Houston area, so we do not have a district within the greater Houston area. But we do have a district in Central and South Texas and a district in North Texas. And again, you can find more information on who works and reports within those districts on the Incident Action Plan. But the important thing here is that the district staff report to the district director, and that district director reports to the AD of Operations. And while district staff are going to be made up primarily of direct services individuals, there are other support services, your logistics, your DA folks that are also going to be working in the district together as a total district team, even if those logistics folks and DA folks may be receiving their administrative supervision from within the operation, from the AD of Logistics or the AD of Planning or whatever activity they happen to report into. But the important thing is that within our districts, the expectation is that everybody works together for that common objective, which is to provide the best possible services to those that have been impacted by this event. So our impact that we have within the state of Texas, we have three areas of primary impact. We're going to first start up in the North Texas region. Out to the west of Fort Worth, we have, in the county of Parker, we have flooding that's impacted approximately 40 to 50 residences along Possum Kingdom Lake. And so those areas are still inaccessible. And again, I'm recording this on April 19th. So if you're watching this a little bit later, that may have changed. We may have more information. But as of right now, we are looking at 40 to 50 homes within the North Texas district that have been impacted by this flood event. Down in the Austin and surrounding counties, we're still trying to get an idea of how many homes have been impacted in those areas, but we again are thinking it's going to be less than 150 homes that are impacted within that central South Texas district. Again, still gathering information, so we're not quite sure, but again, we did have heavy rain that impacted the North Texas region and the Central Texas region. Many, around 7 to 8 inches of rain fell within these areas, which led to flash flooding and also river flooding as well. While that's extensive and the damage is extensive in the North Texas and the Central Texas area, the main center of gravity for the operation does remain around the Houston metro area and the surrounding counties. Within the Houston metro area, on the overnight hours between on April 17th and April 18th, we had a significant amount of rainfall that occurred within the greater Houston area. In some locations, we had upwards of 16 to 20 inches of rain that fell during the overnight hours, which led to a disastrous situation along a number of the bayous within that area and the watersheds, where we had significant and even historic record-breaking flooding along some of those areas. And again, I'm recording this on the 19th of April, so we're still getting an idea of what our overall impacts are. We know in Harris County alone, that we're looking at over 1,000 homes that have been impacted by flooding. We have many other homes in other communities that are also impacted as well. We've got multiple shelters that are open in this area. And again, right now our current shelter population, again on 4/19, the midnight shelter population was around 450 in around a dozen or so shelters. So we're still gathering that information, still putting our disaster assessment information forward. But right now, on April 19th, our focus of the operation remains on mass care, remains on sheltering, feeding. We're going to be starting some bulk distribution operations, as well as getting out and conducting disaster assessment. And one of the things that I wanted to make very clear on this operation is that disaster assessment is going to be the key to helping us forward plan when it comes to additional bulk distribution and casework and recovery. And so we're going to be trying out a number of different tactics in order to gather this disaster assessment information quickly and efficiently. So I'm asking, if you are watching this and you're coming out in the disaster assessment activity, I encourage you and I ask you to be flexible with the tasks that you may be asked to do. If you're going to be asked to use new technology, if you're going to be asked to really think outside of the box when it comes to DA, and if you have any ideas about how we can make DA more efficient, please bring it up. I want this operation, and I'll say this to all activities, I want this operation to be reflective of your ideas. If there are things that you think that we can do better, more efficiently to serve our clients, let it be known, talk about it, bring those ideas forward, and we'll see if we can get them enacted on this relief operation. But again, bring it forward. Don't think that I have this great idea and nobody would ever listen. I guarantee you, I want to hear your ideas. The leadership on this team wants to hear your ideas. The Chief Morale Officer, Fred Sanford, wants to hear your ideas. So please, please, please bring your ideas forward, and if possible, we're going to see if we can get them incorporated into this operation. So some important things to remember as we approach this relief operation is the first one is that the intent is for the incident action plan to be emailed to everyone who is assigned to the operation every night. Now, we recognize that not everyone's going to have access to their email, but we are going to try to socialize it that direction, and we are going to also attempt to print out a few paper copies. We can't print out a lot of paper copies. We're trying to save on paper. And an IAP that's 50 pages, and we have to print it out for hundreds of workers, becomes quite burdensome. And so we're going to email it out, but we are going to print out some copies so that if you don't have access to your email, then you can pick it up at the headquarters or your other work locations as well. Very important thing about our relationships. In Texas, we need to make sure that only external relations individuals communicate with our emergency management partners. So if you're in disaster assessment and you feel like you need to gather information from the local jurisdiction, it has to go through our external relations individuals, so our government liaisons. So we should never be talking, nobody outside of that government liaison group should be communicating with emergency management partners. This helps ensure that when those emergency management officials are talking to the Red Cross, they know that they're speaking to the person that they're intended to speak with, and they're not getting messages from a variety of different people, and they're not getting called from a variety of different Red Crossers. So it's very important that if you're not a government liaison, that you remember that you should not be communicating directly with emergency managers within the state of Texas. Again, if you have those questions, reach out to a government liaison. Their information is going to be in the incident action plan. Make contact with them, and they will absolutely work to get you the information you need in order to be successful, because that's an expectation that they have as government liaisons. Be flexible and be safe. First part of that is we need to be the best stewards of the donated dollar that we possibly can be. And the way that we do this is by limiting our overall support costs. This means that we're going to be controlling the rental cars on the operation very, very strictly. And we're also going to be asking that if you come out, if you've deployed out on this operation from away from your home, and you've committed to 14 days on the operation, if your job that you deployed in, let's say sheltering, is over in 7 days, then you be flexible to shift and transfer to another activity, and we can provide that training, and we're going to provide that training. So be flexible in that, and also be very safe. With any kind of floods, we have still standing water. Obviously, don't drive into standing water, but also be aware that this is South and Southeast Texas, and so we do have a number of snakes. We've got other sort of wildlife that may come out of the bayous following a flood. And so if you're out in the communities, just be aware of your surroundings. Don't go swimming in the bayous, don't go playing in the flood waters. Just be careful and make sure that your teams are careful as well. And I've said this multiple times, do not suffer in silence. Do not let issues fester. I am being completely honest here. I want you to have a extremely positive experience on this operation. But if you're not having a positive experience and you feel like you don't know who to reach out to talk about it, or you feel like it's never going to go anywhere, don't let that stop you. Reach out to the Chief Morale Officer, Fred Sanford, and he can be reached at frederick.sanford@redcross.org, and he can help you advocate to try to resolve whatever issues are making your experience less than positive. And finally, to round out our orientation, I just want to say thank you. The state of Texas has been impacted multiple times over the past 12 months, and I know many of you are repeat deployers down to the state of Texas. We really appreciate you coming back. And if you're new to the state of Texas, reach out to another local person, get them to show you the lay of the land to our great state. And I just want to say again, thank you for giving of your time to help our fellow citizens within the state. Thank you all very much.